Hello and welcome to Sketch in Review, the post SNL review show that's going to start at season 47 and work our way backwards eventually. I've got with me a special guest. I have Connor with me. Connor, he was in an improv troupe with me in college. Me and him have done a lot of comedy together, and I can't wait to get into the first episode of the new season. Let's start with some housekeeping about the new season. So one cast member left since last season. Rip to...
That cast member is...
Beck Bennett.
Gotcha.
Beck Bennett, I really liked him. A lot of people really thought that him and Kyle Mooney were going to leave at the same time because they were in a sketch group together before SNL. But Kyle Mooney somehow stayed on. We also lost one of the featured performers, Lauren Holt. She only lasted one season 46. And for anyone who's wondering who she is and you can't remember, she was the one last season who was not A.D. Bryant. It's unfortunate that that's the only way to remember her, but it's the one who looks like A.D. Bryant and was in A.D. Bryant's roles, but not her.
I can't remember. I'm not sure if I've seen any of last season. I'm a very sporadic watcher. I'm a when my parents put it on watcher of SNL.
I watched almost every episode live even. I think the only one I missed was the John Mulaney Halloween episode live. And
when that's you know it by name, you know you've seen them all.
Listen, I'm a huge SNL fan. It's one of my favorite shows available, and I think it's just because it produces content fast and sporadically, which is my favorite way to see content performed. We also added in some new faces. Aristotle Atari.
The greatest name ever. Just such a good name.
Isn't it? It's just such, perfect... It's alliterative, so you've got, that Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, Marvel superhero-esque secret identity name.
And your first name is the name of a philosopher, and your last name is the word you shout before you win a really long game. I should. Did he name himself? Is that a stage name, or is this just the coolest family in existence?
It is a stage name, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think his actual name is Athari. There's an H after the T. Whatever.
That's close enough.
Close enough.
Fuck,
he is SNL's first Iranian American member on their cast, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
We also have James Austin Johnson.
Another an excellent name.
Yeah, huge. It's like Edward James Olmos did levels of names right there, because you can only address him as those three words. You can't say Edward Olmos. It's Edward James Olmos. It's James Austin Johnson. For people who hang around on Twitter, he does a lot of Donald Trump impressions, so I assume that's the reason why they brought him on. We'll get into him because he has quite the debut episode in this light. And finally, our last pickup is Sarah Sherman, otherwise known as Sarah Squirm on social media. She's weird. She is so weird, and it's pretty fun. I only found out about her when they announced her. It's wild.
My friends this is the only person that I knew was going to be here because my friends told me about, you have to see this person's SNL audition tape. And I was like, well, okay. And then I did, and it was a ride and a half.
I saw some of her stand-up for it, and wild. She's got the manic Eric Andre energy. Alright, so let's jump into the cold open. So the cold open is classically it's going to be political in nature. This cold open, no exception. We start with Joe Biden coming to the podium for a presidential address. Biggest thing to note about this, right at the beginning, is that the person playing Joe Biden is James Austin Johnson. His first episode, he gets the first lines, and he's playing the President of the United States.
Yeah, that's
Granted, does a really good Joe Biden accent.
Yeah, and he does a great job of communicating the old person trying to be energetic.
Mm-hmm, yeah, he's got that like energy, that Joe Biden. It's just a Joe Biden energy. It's like, how do you do, fellow kids? But also, my bones are brittle. We follow up. We get Cecily Strong as Senator Sinema from Arizona, and I'll go into this more. But Cecily plays crazy so perfectly.
Oh yeah.
I'll definitely get into this more in the school board sketch later, just because it's more on point there. And then we get Aidy Bryant as Joe Manchin. I will say, SNL has a history now of just putting Aidy Bryant as whatever slimy politician they don't like at the moment.
And she just does it. She does a good job. She plays slimy politician. I don't know what to tell you.
When she was Ted Cruz, it worked. When she's Joe Manchin, it works. Just works.
It's a unique thing about this where I don't know a lot of these people's names because I've fallen off of politics, not for any like stand-up reason or any I need to break reason, just because like I've been doing other things. So I don't know these people's names or what they do, or rather I've heard like of them. I've heard people like mention them offhand and give me the one-off joke. So they did a really good job communicating this to people that have fallen out of the loop, because the jokes still landed. You still got the basic idea of who these people were and what their current problem they were presenting was.
Yep. So Aidy and Cecily stand on the how a lot of Democrats would probably say Dino, Democrat in name only, senators, just because they're so like centrist at this point that they're almost conservative. Especially a senator from West Virginia. That still blows my mind every time I think about it, that a Democrat won West Virginia.
Yeah. West Virginia and Nevada.
Yeah. And Arizona, but that one makes more sense.
Oh, Arizona, that's what I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Nevada. Doing a great job.
Yeah. And then on the other side, in the progressive corner, we have Ego Nwodem, for Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. And Melissa Villasenor gets to pull out her AOC impression. And Melissa is obviously a huge... she's a huge impersonator. She does a lot. Everyone was really hoping that she would pull out her Owen Wilson one for this episode, which unfortunately, spoiler, you don't get to see. But that look it up. Sad. It's a good time.
I want In the Cage too.
Oh, get in the cage too. Oh, that'd be amazing. Maybe if what's his name, Sandberg ever gets back in.
No, I want Get in the Cage, but with Owen Wilson is what I'm saying. I want them to just keep doing that bit. Get in the Wilson.
So, Owen, what do you think of the cold open now that we've laid the scene of what it's about? Or who plays what? The actual, storyline is just that Joe Biden is caving to the conservative members of the Democrat Party because they hold such a slim margin in the Senate. What'd you think of the sketch as a whole, though?
The jokes overall were pretty solid. There's a pervasive SNL awkwardness that is in a lot of the sketches in general, but it leaks into the political sketches more than that, because they're trying to be a primetime show that appeals to everyone, but also push, not murder people. Yeah. So it's weird, it's awkward, but the jokes were all good. The characters were all well played. Paradoxically, the SNL cast members are uniquely good at playing political figures. They just feel awkward doing it. So yeah, it was overall fun. It felt kind of awkward, but it was really funny. So
Yeah, I will
where
say
are we?
consistently that the cold open is most of the time my least favorite sketch of an episode, and I'm pretty sure that it holds for this one too. Doing a quick look through on all of them, yeah, definitely the cold open's probably the weakest of all the sketches. If you're super left and you like the political humor of SNL, you're gonna love this sketch. It's super easy. The Joe Manchin, we need children to pick coal line is just so out there and funny. It's just the unreal, unhinged tether that goes to each of the lines in a perfect succession.
I really liked Joe Biden's "Can we talk about trains?" I like trains too, but I think trains are cool.
Trains are cool. I am also on the trains backing.
But it's also just like a really, really old guy thing to say. Can we talk about trains?
Are trains
yeah,
okay?
man. Yeah, man. Let's talk about trains.
And then Alex Moffat coming in as Chuck. The Cuomo. Pete
Jesus.
Davidson coming in as Cuomo was obviously one of the biggest issues of the first episode back for SNL is they have so much ground to cover.
Yeah.
They have to cover the political scene as it is right now, but also anything big that happened in the last 6 months.
It's true. It's true.
So while the Cuomo bit was definitely ham-fisted in there, it worked decently well enough. I feel like one of the things that I noticed is for the goodbyes we got the full credits. They didn't cut to the next thing, which means that they obviously were not strapped for time. There was a lot of dead air that they probably could have used for something. But I also feel like they should have cut Cuomo and probably kept something else.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps up the cold open, don't you?
Yeah, that's about as much as I need to say.
Alright. So we go on to Owen Wilson's monologue. Dude, not a fan. Was not a fan of his monologue.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the monologues, to me, as long as I'm not wincing, I'm okay. Because monologues can be bad, and this was fine. I've got no complaints. It's just it wasn't. I've been told that recently. The two types of monologues are questions from the audience and song. And I'm not that upset when it's a song because the songs are fun. So I honestly just give him a song. If you don't know what to do, just give him a song. I'm okay. So everyone's okay. We're having a good time.
Yeah, questions from the audience is really good when there's just one thing that everyone talks to this person about. So for John Krasinski, they did a bunch of office questions from the audience, which was fun. Songs also are another great monologue device. My favorite one that I think a lot of actors don't take the option, but there is also cast members come on to talk to them about the show, the monologue. And which is great because then you're already offloading half of that time to trained professionals in this environment.
Yep. Agreed.
Owen Wilson standing there and rambling for 10 minutes, not going to be the best work. It doesn't.
Also, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Also, one of two Cars references. It blows my fucking mind that this one they were yeah, okay. Owen Wilson's known for a lot of things, but we're gonna reference Cars twice. We don't have a lot of time, but we've got time for two Cars.
Mm-hmm. I could honestly probably not tell you another Owen Wilson film though.
Name any Wes Anderson film, and it probably had Owen Wilson.
Fair. You know what? That's very fair.
He was recently in Loki, which they referenced offhand in the Cars
sketch.
Oh.
Alright, yeah. So his monologue kind of punted, but he survived. The audience, he didn't lose the audience, so we'll call it a success.
Sure.
So first sketch up was the morning talk show sketch, where we got in it is Cecily, 80, Heidi Gardner, and Ego. They are hosting, like your The View or other such daytime talk shows where women sit around a table and yell at each other.
I think it's literally a bit on The Talk, but they had to call it The Talking. And we'll get to this in a minute. It's possible that The Talk show, it's possible that they're pretty litigious, which is why they had to call it The Talking, and they had to throw a little joke that isn't a joke at the end. But I don't know for sure. That's the feeling that I got from usually when they use the name of a show when they do the name of a show, but this time they had to change it slightly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. So I think that obviously Amy Bryant and Cecily Strong bickering at the beginning was so good. Just the lines between "you have debt."
Your children are not nice.
You're a bad friend.
You're a bad friend.
That's my favorite. Just Cecily repeating "you're a bad friend" at Edie the entire time.
Oh God. Yeah, it had a great energy. Everybody put on great characters. And again, like the first one, but even more so than the cold open. They do a good job of giving you a good enough idea of who these people are and setting up the ideas for what the jokes can be. So that you don't actually need to know the source material, but I imagine if you do know the source material, you'd have a great time knowing.
Yeah, as two people who do not watch daytime talk shows, we had it was good. So the thing is that with the sketch, I thought that they were going in a completely different direction for like 3/4 of it when I watched it, because they kept mentioning, "Oh, we've been vaccinated countless times." I figured eventually it was going to come out that they just lied.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, oh, that's pretty good. If they're just like, yeah, countless times. You can't count 0. But instead they went with a HPV joke and then a quick cut out.
Oh, not just that. The last joke was, looks like they were all false positives, which is in fact not a joke, and some weird retraction that makes me think, again, possibly this is a very litigious show.
Yeah, it makes it. I feel like they had to throw that in so that the more soft viewers of SNL were like, they're making fun of people who get COVID. Although decent sketch. I like to think about, like, if I was running the show and got to move these sketches around, where would I put it? I don't know if I would put this as the first sketch after the monologue.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a very, like I said before, it's a very similar sketch in a lot of ways to the cold open.
Yeah, because it's people just sitting around talking for a while.
Yeah, it's people sitting around talking. It's big air quotes political. It's something that could be niche to some viewers. Like it's not one of those very, very broad sketches. It's similar, I would say, in a lot of ways to it felt similar to me.
Yep, I will say in it though, one of my comedic buttons that gets pressed is when like a big deal is just talked about super nonchalantly. So them getting to interview the Pope and they're too busy arguing whether they should call him the Pope, or Pope. It's just like right. It needles just like the right thing inside of me where I'm like, this could be a whole sketch for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Altogether great job. Yeah, that was a big fan of that one. It was a little awkward with the COVID jokes were awkward. The characters were great. They should have made it not that. Like they didn't. It seemed like they also just kind of didn't want to do it.
Yeah, it seemed like there was not a better sketch. I don't know how much do you actually know about like the process of SNL?
As I understand, they start the week with ideas, and then like they get the sketches written relatively quickly throughout the week, and then they practice them, and then they go.
Yeah, so a little bit of like more on the background is, so Monday is when you pitch. By Wednesday, you need to have the sketch like typed out and such, and then Lauren and other producers make picks. And they end up getting like a stack of probably like 12 or so sketches, which they whittle down throughout the next like 3 days. The final like these sketches are going isn't decided until right before the show goes on, because they have a dress rehearsal right before, and that one is 2 hours long, and then they cut one or two sketches from that.
Okay.
So I feel like this might have just been one of those times where they didn't have a strong enough sketch to take this one out.
I don't know. I thought it was strong up until the jokes stopped being character based and started being uncomfortable. And when I say uncomfortable, I mean the people on stage seemed uncomfortable COVID jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next we get our only pre-tape of the episode, which is Star Trek Ego Quest, the Jeff Bezos edition of Star Trek.
Now, this one I didn't like that much, personally. I thought that it wasn't... I don't think it went far enough. I think it always pulled its punches in a way that was, like, I'll just skip to the end, because this is the whole sketch would have been worth it if... So, there's this one part where Jeff Bezos is on his spaceship, and on the transporter... somebody's beaming aboard, and they're like, who could it be? And Jeff Bezos says, oh, it's my package. And so Bobby Moynihan shows up. Not Bobby Moynihan.
It's Kenan Thompson. Bobby Moynihan hasn't been on the show Bobby Moynihan might have played it if he was still on the show.
I don't know why Bobby Moynihan and Kenan Thompson occupy the same space in my mind, but they do. Kenan Thompson shows up. And he's got a box. He gives it to him, and then Jeff Bezos is fiddling with the box. And the joke, of course, is that Amazon doesn't treat its employees well. So I was 100% sure that he was going to open the box, pull out a laser gun, and then disintegrate. I thought, that is great, and I was really looking forward to it. And then he just doesn't open the box, and he tosses him a bottle to pee in, because that's another. It's a fine it's a fine joke, but it's just all pulled punches in this one. And I think that not liking Jeff Bezos is something that we can all agree on, to the degree where you can just have at it. And they didn't.
Yeah. I will say that Jon Stewart over the summer produced like a pre-tape sketch about Jeff Bezos going to space that's infinitely better than this one.
Oh, I gotta see it.
Jason Alexander plays Jeff Bezos, so it's very, very fun.
Also a bad Bezos impression.
Yeah, I mean, Owen Wilson, not really known for his impressions.
That's a good point. Honestly, they should have given Owen Wilson a spaceship. That instead of Richard Branson, it should have just been like Owen Wilson is Owen Wilson's ship.
Yeah, I will say Mikey Day nailed Elon Musk's like weird speech pattern.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I feel like half the reason why SNL had Elon on last season was just so that they could learn his speech pattern perfectly, so that they can make fun of him.
Oh.
So after the Star Trek pre-tape, we move into the Cars sketch. Cars 4. Cars. Oh, boy. So the premise for this sketch is Owen Wilson comes into Pixar Studios to record lines for the next Cars movie. It's still a work in progress. They've only got a few lines for him to read, so that the animators just have, like, sound to work with, so they know what mouth shapes to make. And as he continues to read the lines, they get progressively worse and worse as Lightning McQueen goes from his can-do racing attitude to a philanderer and possible pedophile.
Yep.
I feel like that's the politest way I can put it.
It is indeed. It walked the line between being uncomfortable and just edgy. It had a lot of good jokes in there, and Owen Wilson did a great job selling it. And there was a fun Larry the Cable Guy impression.
Yeah, once again, that's James Austin Johnson coming in with another impression. This is really this is a huge debut episode for him. This is basically his episode because he also runs the NFL sketch at the end.
I think that I think that they should just hire more impressionists because impressions is
half to 3/4 of SNL is just impressions.
Yeah.
Not like the worst thing, but
no, it's I just think that
it is their niche.
Yeah, you've gotten to the point where hiring improvisers can only bring you so far.
So yeah.
When are we putting my tirade against Cars 3 and my promo for Cars 2?
We could do that right now if you want.
We don't have to do it at all.
We'll save that for our Cars themed podcast.
That's right.
All right. I will say that right when they ended I will say that they did a perfect callback, and this sketch is really good because it hits 3 major beats throughout it. So we have the first beat where Lightning McQueen is flirting with wives and daughters and is on trial. and we get a step back. A new character comes in, Larry the Cable Guy, and then we get Lightning McQueen is saying the R word over and over and over.
For 10 pages.
Mm-hmm, for 10
or 10
pages,
lines.
For 10 lines that they gave him.
Oy.
And so while you're still dealing with that, we move into the last final joke, which is
this is the best joke of the sketch.
This is the best joke of the sketch is Lightning McQueen wins, and then Mater's like, "Where are you going with my sister?" He's like, "He's not your sister tonight." Why are you doing this? Power.
In the background, they've got concept art, and it's got this just horrible looking lightning, like a horrible, really close zoom onto him with lightning in the background.
I will say that if it wasn't for those background animations, I feel like it wouldn't hit nearly as hard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, they were very good.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess once again speaks to, it seems like SNL is hiring a lot more diverse staff in terms of talent, and I think it's really showing. If only they still need a little bit of work at hiring diverse staff in other areas.
But slowly but surely they'll get there, maybe.
It's true. By the 2030 cast, we're going to be...
2030 cast will be the most diverse cast in SNL's history. You heard it here first.
Well, my fan theory is that Kenan Thompson is waiting for Lorne Michaels to die so that he can become the new Lorne Michaels.
I mean, that's a lot of people's theory, and at this point, I think it might actually happen.
I'm not against it. He's very smart. He's very funny. He's very good at his job. He showed up for 2 sketches, and he was the best part of both those sketches.
He also has been doing SNL now for 18 years, I want to say. It's more than any other cast member. Second doesn't even come close at this point.
Yeah. And also, if you're gonna hire someone to be the new Lorne, wouldn't you want it to be someone that has worked on the show for 18 years? There's a lot of reasons for it.
You don't want to almost kill the show again.
Yeah.
So after that, we get the school board. We get the school board sketch. Another strong sketch. Really, really making sure that people who stuck around past the first 2 are getting rewarded by going with Cars into school board. School board reminds me a lot of the. We both are big fans of the Auntie Donna sketch group from Australia.
Yep.
This reminds me of their school nurse and sports doctor sketches, where it's just a bunch of characters running in and doing weird shit.
Yep, I agree. There's some... What I don't like about this sketch, and it's what I don't like about a lot of these sketches, and it's probably because it's live, it's probably ridiculous. I think this is a style of sketch that is built for quick cuts like, I guess I was going to say, like, I was going to give a second and third thing, but it's something that works well with quick cuts because the any second that isn't filled with a question or a weird person, it feels awkward. It lets these characters that really shouldn't sit for too long. I'm never a big fan of these sketches in SNL, but the fun characters are fun. There's no avoiding that.
Yeah, and part of that issue is, like you said, because it's live, you can't cut down on those like half-second pauses while you wait for camera to. Okay, we're on camera now. You can do it. Okay, we're off camera. Move, move, move. Okay, we're on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it starts with Cecily pulling out all the crazy straws. And if they're just keeping her around at this point to just play variations of the girl you don't want to get into a conversation with at a party, I'm okay with that. She just says shit and like half shit too. It's never a full thought. She says half of something and then it moves into something else and then it moves into something else. So that way you're never quite sure what the point is, but you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
Other good bits. Bowen kills it as the fucking crazy dude with dreads.
Yep.
I will say for that one is that they tried to rule of threes the Barack Hussein Obama joke, and I feel like it came too quick in a row.
Yeah. Also, just like worked better as a single joke.
Yeah.
Actually, no, never mind. No, you know what? It worked. It was good when I think it worked better as multiple characters doing it. The Hillary Rodham Hussein Clinton was not a good second in those three, or third of those three.
Yeah, what I was going to say is it probably could have worked, like you said, if they had a third character say it. But also, I feel like if we put Bowen closer to the beginning. We throw James Austin Johnson in like the middle of it, where it's like I'm protecting the children for the lives of Barack Hussein Obama, and then we end it on Hillary Rodham Hussein Clinton.
Yeah,
it could probably work. It could probably hit better. It hits fine.
Yeah, no,
but like you mentioned, Keenan's probably still the best part of that sketch because everyone else is psycho crazy, and then he comes in with like mid-level crazy.
Because SNL really needs to lean harder. So many of the best SNL moments and characters are original characters that come out of not an idea, but half an idea. like this is, I mean, it's not ridiculous to say that this reminds you of David S. Pumpkins. Because he just like a regular person in a tie that really likes Halloween.
In a Halloween tie. It is pumpkins and shit on the Halloween tie.
It's just such a half an idea, and then you give it to someone that can really sell it, and that's it. It's like that stupid goddamn fish in a blender sketch. Everybody likes the fish in a blender sketch because it's half an idea.
It's like, oh, what if we just show someone blending fish on TV? All right, well, how do we get that to happen? What do we do?
I don't think you heard me. We're going to make someone blend fish on TV.
They'll figure it out. They're improvisers. They'll improvise.
Just tell them to play it to the top of whatever they can, and it'll be fine. And it is. I don't even like the fish in a blender sketch, but everyone else does, and it's because it's like all the sketches that I like.
Yep. So after that, we get Kacey Musgraves' first song, which I believe is called "Justified." I could be wrong. That's what I would title it based off of listening to it a couple times. I would name that song "Justified" because she says that word a lot, and it's really like accented.
I take your word for it. I liked it. It had like a folk rocky sound to it, and I'm listening to more and more of that recently.
Yeah, she was fine. I don't love when musical performers come on to SNL and are like, I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to play my instrument and sing.
Yeah.
Like that might be great for your concerts, but like SNL should be an experience. It is a variety show after all. The whole
And
the whole
yeah, well,
reason
like we
why
said,
they have like a celebrity guest is because it's supposed to be spectacle.
yeah,
Go ahead.
like we like we said when we were watching it, there if everybody in the background, the band that's playing and backing her up is like moving their heads and and having a really great time, and if you just like turned on the lights with them, and that like it elevates the experience. It's not just her it's not just her singing into a microphone, sometimes sideways, sometimes not. It's like it's her singing into a microphone in front of a band that's having a really good time, and that's something. That's entertaining.
Yeah, that's at least something.
Yeah.
I will say, though, as just like a corollary, is neither of us know anything about Kacey Musgraves, I don't think, right?
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that's not much of a change.
Yeah, so we could just be entirely wrong on this and not know.
That's true.
So after that, we get to Weekend Update. Weekend Update, as always, is the most consistently funny part of SNL because it's not a sketch. You just write jokes about headlines.
Yep.
And when you've got like Colin Jessica Jost, who has a Harvard comedy background, and Michael Che, who doesn't care what anyone thinks of him and will say anything, you get quality jokes all the time. What would you say your favorite of the pure jokes, not the 3 segments that they did?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I'm
trying
to remember any single. It's hard because I should have written something down when I was watching, but I didn't. Nothing comes to mind, but that's not against the sketch. My mind is literally just blanking on. I would say I guess there wasn't one that really that I committed to memory because I had an amazing time, but it's not that it wasn't funny.
Yeah. So I'm gonna point out 3 that I really liked.
Okay.
I'll let you see if you agree. Nothing more Catholic than letting someone else die for your sins.
That one's quality.
That one's so. I don't know if it's just because I grew up Catholic, so it makes it like way better.
That's very good.
The whitest paint joke is also great.
I actually really liked that joke because Colin Jost was on something today. I don't know. He was weirdly giggly. He was giggly. He was also just uncomfortably giggly, like with the black woman that's been missing for 10 years bit. All of his giggling sounded like it was setting up a punchline where he's like representing how people still don't care, even though she's like she's been like literally just telling you all of the horrible things that happened to her. But no, it was just Colin Jost giggling, which was just really uncomfortable. And so the white paint joke was at least a pretty good payoff for that.
Yeah, he's so white. It's really funny. And then also Michael Che's NBA joke was killer. Killer. Pete Davidson did all right. He generally
liked him.
I liked him. I think he needs to go back to the writer's room with that stand-up bit about his uncles. It feels like there was like half of a joke there, as opposed to normally when he comes on with one of those just pure stand-up bits, it's like very refined. It hits very specific moments, and then it goes away. This one, it felt like, oh, cool, you make... and it might have just also been Colin being like, so your uncle was actually really upset? And just kept asking, like, basically a variation of the same question. And it's like, how many times can we hit this one note?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Also, I didn't love him going... He should have just said the Tilda Swinton on Casual Fridays joke while he was making fun of how he dressed. As opposed to
it was not good
to
enough. It was not good enough to bring it back up.
No, it was definitely not. But I really like their Norm tribute.
Oh yeah, the Norm tribute was really really good because it was just a uniquely great way to send off somebody in a that made good jokes for a joke show. It was like here's this person and here are their good jokes.
Mm-hmm. They left some pretty good Weekend Update bits on the cutting room floor for that segment, but oh boy, the ones that they kept were pretty good.
Well, which one would you like to see in it?
Personally, I think if they had to pick one of his OJ jokes, because there's like 30-minute compilations of all the jokes he did on OJ during that trial. My favorite one is right after OJ gets found not guilty, they go on, SNL goes on Weekend Update, and he goes, our top story tonight, murder is legal in the state of California. Alright, so after Update, we get the funeral sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one I think was the weakest for me. I didn't have a great time.
Yeah, it's a hard joke to sell. The joke of the whole sketch is just that their grandma hung out with only problematic celebrities.
Yeah.
End of story. Her favorite lounge singer at Atlantic City was LeVar B. Burton, who only sings R. Kelly songs, as it turns out. I will say that like one of the jokes I think a lot of people are going to miss is when he says that they did not bus him direct, and he goes, "Yeah, I came from Atlantic City via Secaucus via Hershey, Pennsylvania." As someone from New Jersey, that's the most ludicrous way to get there, because Atlantic City, for those of you who don't know, Atlantic City is here. So this is like New Jersey, right? And then here's New York City. Here's Atlantic City. Here's Hershey, Pennsylvania. Here's Secaucus. Here's New York.
For people that are only listening,
oh yeah, we're a podcast, as it turns out.
Triangle with a pencil in the air.
You know, if only there was a better way to describe how it works, like with cardinal directions or anything, but there isn't. So,
well, how about this? Secaucus and Atlantic City are in New Jersey.
And Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Hershey, Pennsylvania is in Pennsylvania.
For those of you who couldn't tell.
And this sketch was filmed in New York City.
I will say, having that entire sketch, just to end with the remix to Ignition by R. Kelly. A lot of setup for like a middling payoff, but for the people it paid off for, I'm sure it paid off really well.
I still don't get how it's a joke, but like, yeah, can you explain that one to me as well?
Well, it's just you know,
that's another R. Kelly song.
Yeah, it's another R. Kelly song, but that one's like specifically like more like rap based, where like a lounge singer should, if you think about a lounge singer, right? I Believe I Can Fly at least, like, makes sense. Like, you could sing that in a lounge singer way.
Sure.
And then her second favorite song is the lounge singer being able to just do, like, pure R&B remix to Ignition. It's just the dichotomy of that. That's at least what I find funny about it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. This one fell off for me just because a lot of the jokes of the bad people were kind of old jokes. And there was just a lingering awkwardness, and there was the unfocused bit with the gambling debts being a thing. So like the at the beginning they said every weekend she went down to Atlantic City to do the penny slots, which already sounds we should probably talk to grandma.
Yeah.
But then there was this. It's a very SNL thing where they've got this joke and they approach it in such an awkward way. Where, like, the reason why the song that they picked was I Believe I Can Fly was because she jumped off a building because of her gambling debts. and it wasn't. I can't tell you. I need to spend some time workshopping how you would deliver it. But the way I would not deliver it is, oh yeah, Grandma killed herself. Unless that's the joke I forgot. Like, it was just a very, very awkward delivery on a lot of the jokes.
I will say that the family members reacting, just being like, yeah, that sounds like her, definitely helped save it for me.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And also, really, the biggest through line that I think helped carry this weak sketch was probably Keenan consistently being like, LeVar B. Burton, important
That
B
was
in there.
very good.
Which,
again, 2 sketches, he shows up and he's the best part of it.
So I will say, historically, last season opener, he also played another character who had a very important B initial. in an Unfortunate Names sketch that, they do those like every so often where a disaster will happen and they talk to survivors and all the survivors have names like Edith Pussy.
Sure.
And one of them was that Keenan is Jeffrey B. Epstein. That's a very important B. Yeah, so funeral sketch, definitely weak sketch. Probably don't need to check it out on YouTube. That's one that's going to be on the cutting room floor when they put out the edited version. For people who don't know, SNL will consistently put out a 1-hour version of their show for each guest, and that one will only include sketches that actually landed.
That's interesting.
The lead-in for this one was the Maya Rudolph episode. And rewatching it, I realized there's a lot of SNL when they do specifically political and pop culture sketches, where it was funny when I watched it live, and then watching it again, I was like, this is not that as good. Which was part of the reason why we always tried to skew away from pop culture references when we did improv in college, because it was just like, well, if you don't get it, A, it's not going to hit, and yep. B, that gives it a shelf life.
Yep, and also, there's just something tacky about doing it. Like, if your shtick is doing political stuff, which it is, in SNL, then yeah, it's different. But like, if you're a college improv troupe, it is nothing if not tacky. It also gets you in really, really bad feedback, bad practice. Because like, it's not, you'll get an easy laugh, and the easy laugh will not be about building strong characters or scenes or anything. And yeah,
classic. So after that, we get Kacey's second song. That one, I never figured out what I would name it. It was a weird song to begin with. She starts sitting in a chair across from a film projection of random people.
Which, again, at least half of them are cast members from SNL. So there's this weird vibe where you're like, okay, I guess you dated every cast member at SNL. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a weird flex, but no. Okay.
Weird flex that you made a song about it too. I don't know.
I don't love that she did 2 like low energy downer songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because once again, variety show and like late variety shows. The show starts at 11:30, it ends at 1 a.m. I would suggest for any musical artist who is listening to this shit tier podcast, if you're on SNL, your second song should be a hype song.
Yeah, that's fair.
You should definitely hit that one with more energy. Your first song can be your brooding, emotional piece. More people will see it. A lot of people will enjoy it. Your second song should try to pump people up for the last 10 minutes.
I feel like you should just pump them up for both. I'm not showing up to SNL to cry. I don't know.
Fair.
That said, I do need to say again, that first song, I think it's just me. Like, I think it appeals very like more to me than it would more audiences. But that first song was really good.
I liked the first song, honestly. I might start listening to that song. It was decent. It is a bit of a downer, though.
Yeah, no, nothing against that.
So after she finishes that up, we get the NFL Fox on NFL sketch, which is just which they did this weird thing where instead of making a sketch about a dumb idea, they made a sketch about people pitching a dumb idea. which like it works on like a decent level. So for this one, we get James Austin Johnson and Owen Wilson are playing the Fox sportscasters. I know Owen Wilson played. I think it's Joe Buck. And so that would make James play Troy Aikman, but nobody who watches SNL cares.
Yep.
And the gimmick is that James Austin Johnson is pitching this new show for Fox on Thursdays called Crazy House. And the Crazy House, it's like generic shitty family sitcom that just gets more and more layers added on top. So it starts with just Crazy House. A house where three influencers live together. It's gonna be cray.
I might be. I think we might disagree on this. We definitely disagree on this. And this is probably a weird one. This is probably my favorite sketch of the night.
This one is your favorite sketch of the night?
I don't. There's a lot of like. There's very very strong bits in it where where the Owen Wilson asks. Just asks a very reasonable question, and then the other guy's just like, let's not guess. And then there's the recurring bit of the fact that they keep wanting to cut to something that isn't a pitch, that isn't this stupid idea, and then it turns out that there's nothing to show, and so the network forces them to show it again, and they're clearly getting more and more upset with it. And there's just so many. All of the jokes, all of the bits are very strong to me, but I do get that like it's a weird one to pick as your favorite.
Yeah. Listen, it's not like a weak sketch by any means, but it is very niche on people who are going to enjoy it. I did enjoy the sketch. It was fun. I had a fun time with it. So I forget their names. I know it's Michaela the Monster and Suave, and then the third white girl.
Oh god, I forgot her too. Yeah,
it's like Martha or something like that, dude. It's like generic names.
It sounded a lot like Michaela. It could have been Michelle. It could have been Michelle, Michaela, and Suave. I love the fact. It sounded, the joke sounded a lot, or the bit sounded a lot like me riffing with one of my friends. It sounded like somebody like one person is being the straight man and asking, well, is it so it's a crazy house? Like, no. It's a house, but they inherited it from someone named Crazy. Oh. Like that's a joke. That's a joke that would come up in a sketch. Like that's very good.
It's so perfect because they just add like a little bit more, and each time you hear it, you're like, "Fucking what?"
And then the lady on the ground also has questions about Crazy.
This is just like the perfect to show like straight man sketch where both Owen Wilson and Heidi Gardner are both like almost to the point of like using like no selling it. They're like, yeah, no, this makes sense, but like I have questions not about the ridiculousness of this, just very pinpointed like fact-finding questions. It's never like who greenlit this, who allowed this to go. It's like, wait a minute, is that sock puppet voiced by Stacey Abrams?
It's so that you're absolutely right. There's a lot of things in SNL, like when we were doing improv, and I guess we'll just keep referencing this. There was this
we'll start doing improv again eventually, hopefully.
Please, I don't have the money to pay the people here, and I really want to do it more. So, but the point is, one thing that we said is you need to find the weird thing in the scene. But and this is a rookie mistake that a lot of the younger kids made, once you've found the funny thing in the scene, your first thought is going to be to cash it out for a quick joke, to point out, to take the funny in the scene and then push it out and say, hey guys, this is weird, and then end it. But what is more funny is to like take it, acknowledge it, keep it there, but keep it around, play with it, and see how it grows. And that's what this did. Like SNL sometimes is like you said, someone's like, "Who greenlit this?" So the joke is, "This is weird." But in this, it was like, "Okay, I need to know more. Please tell me more about this weird thing." And it's also very good that all of the characters are straight men. Even the guy reading it is like just looking at the copy, trying to understand it as well. There's a lot to love in this one.
Oh yeah, that one is quality. And so we get to the 10 minutes to 1 sketch. Historically, for those of you who don't know, in SNL tenure, the last sketch of the night, the 10 minutes to 1 sketch, is weird. It's always super weird. It's when they figure, all right, only the hardcores are going to be here. They can handle this. It's like when they open up the curtain for you and they're like, look at what we could do for 90 minutes. And this one is no exception.
That's right.
Oh boy. Robinson's male... It's Robinson's poop sketch is what I call it.
Yep. Yep.
The entire gimmick is you get Sarah Sherman and Andrew Dismukes play fecal doctors who test fecal matter for diseases, and they're filming a like family local TV commercial for it. And the entire time they're like, "Listen, we get it. You're worried we might like play around with your poop, but we won't."
The recurring joke is the fact that they constantly are told by the director, "It sounds like you're going to play with their poop. Maybe you should lay off of it." And then them taking those notes constantly makes it sound more and more like they're going to play around with the poop. And then the punchline is, "Hey, let's play around with some poop." Honestly, it's refreshingly straightforward for an SNL sketch.
Yeah, it is. It is very much like it hit a rule of threes. First one, we're not going to play with your poop. Second one, we might play with your poop. Third one, let's play with some poop.
Yeah.
Listen, you hit it.
No, the in between it is the absolutely brilliant. What, you think you're special? You think we just something so tempting about your poop?
And I will say, Andrew Dismukes was my favorite Hyron from last season, and he continues to kill it. He also made me fucking die in the school board sketch when they're the juniors and he just leans in after she says, "No, you can't game it." Glass just goes, "Bitch."
That was so good. It is such a high schooler thing.
It's just like I heard that and I was like, he gets it, because like I know I could list you off like 10 names right now of people who would do that at a school board meeting with no care for the repercussions. Yep.
Like, but one thing about this sketch, and I feel bad saying it, but this is the second time. It is, since you brought up Auntie Donna, it is eerily similar to the "he's gonna drink our piss" sketch.
Yeah. Realistically, I saw this way more as an "I think you should leave" sketch.
Yeah, it would work as an "I think you should leave" sketch. Is there one in particular, or?
So I think realistically, how "I think you should leave" would approach this sketch differently, mainly because it's a pre-recorded format. Obviously editing can be better and stuff, is they would just show the finished family ad, and it would just slowly devolve over the course of like 10 minutes.
This is a whatever that corpse is falling on the ground show.
Yeah, it's like Corncob TV or Has This Ever Happened to You from the first episode. where it starts and it just keeps going and it slowly devolves into its punchline. But because of the live audience, because of how they have to film and work, having Owen Wilson come in and be like, no, less, and then going more and more and more, is definitely the perfect mix of the two styles.
Yeah, no, it's a very good sketch. I had a great time with that one. Also, just some very very good like gorilla brain fun voices saying silly things. I can't say there's not enough of that, but SNL when it does that, it pays off a lot.
Yeah, there's something about them. There's something about Sarah Sherman's voice in that specifically, where she's got like that Brooklyn Jew accent.
I'm playing around with it.
Playing around, messing around. She's like juggling the poop.
Oh.
Alright, so we got to the end of the sketches. A little bit of final wrap up. What would you say? I mean, we talked about it, but your sketch of the night would be the NFL sketch?
Absolutely. I loved it. I really, really liked it. I've probably gone over everything that I like about it, but it made me laugh. I thought that and this isn't great on my part. I get there's like technical things that trip me up in sketches sometimes that make me frustrated, where I'm just like, I could have written that better, but I don't have a job there, yeah. So who really wins? But point being, there's technical things that frustrate me in a lot of sketches, and there were none in this one, and that's on top of all of the things that I think it was really, really solidly built, and it made me laugh a lot, so I really liked it.
Yeah, I think Cars 4 might be my sketch of the week. It was so out there where they're reaching for this premise that it hit enough. It's either that or School Board for me. The middle two sketches were just so like evenly competing, where it's either my sketch of the week is the host really made the show or the cast made the show. And I think for this one, the host made the show, just because you can't do the car sketch without the voice of Lightning McQueen. It's true. Who would you say is the Ethan Hill Offensive Player of the Week? This is who you think brought in the weirdest amount, like the most energy of they're going to be the weird one in the scene type, as opposed to the Keenan Knight Boehm Defensive Player of the Week, which is the best straight man.
So I've got this one's going to be some hot takes. The strongest performance was that the new guy that does the impressions,
James Austin
Johnson. But I don't think that's the weirdest characters. I think I think this one goes to Keenan. I think whenever he showed up, I was like, this one's gonna be good. And then he brought something like, again, the character that he played, whatever, Mr. Spooky,
Gary.
It was not an over the top character, but it was an over the top idea for a character, and he managed to sell it that way. And then he also had LeVar B. Burton. I would give it to him for this one. I think when he showed up, when there was a character, it was a good character, it was a weird character, and that character always had a fun bit.
I will be giving it to James Austin Johnson. What a debut. You show up, you play the President of the United States, you play Larry the Cable Guy, you run a whole sketch basically by yourself because he's reading the copy form for it. He's doing 90% of the legwork in that NFL sketch, and he doesn't break.
Yeah, no, he did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm. So now we can move to the Keenan Knight Boehm Defensive Player of the Week.
It's got to go to the host, Owen Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He stood around. He knocked back every ball that was hit to him. He was a straight man in a lot of the scenes. Even in the scenes where he was the weird one by virtue of being a straight man saying weird stuff, or portraying weird stuff as a flatly. He did a great job, and he was and he didn't go over the top on really anything.
Listen, if there was ever a straight man, they'd have to be Colin Jost. The epitome of straight white male. I agree with you. Owen Wilson definitely lended the much needed straight man role for a lot of the sketches, which was great because like we noticed the one time where he wasn't the straight man when he played Jeff Bezos. it didn't work as well.
Yep.
Sometimes you need the normal guy to just be a normal guy, and Owen Wilson, pretty normal guy.
Yeah.
Found out he went to military school, though. Interesting.
That was wild. He went to
5
different high schools and
7
different colleges,
as it turns out.
Oh, the Wilson family.
All right, all in all, those are our opinions on episode 1 of season 47 of SNL. Tune in next week, where I will either have Connor again as my guest, or someone else. We'll find out then. All in all, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm looking forward to Kim Kardashian West and Halsey.
Ooh.
Yeah, weird setup already. All in all, and have a wonderful day, and support local comedy. Thank you.
Yeah.